Hello! Welcome to an art demo presented to you by Artbeat Studio. My name is Marissa and I am the program director at Studio Central, which is our urban art center. And I am here today to give you a little crash course of what I know and my own knowledge of using polymer clay. And that's kind of like a basic technique sort of thing where, you know, I am self-taught. All I know is what I've learned myself. So I do use polymer clay quite a bit. I've used it for probably about a year to a year and a half. And if you're not familiar with it, here's what a package would look like. So this is Fimo Soft, which is one of my personal favorites, actually. It's very easy to blend, and it comes in individual colors like this, or you can get like a beautiful full kit of different colors that are about half the size of one of these. But then it's nice because then you can use colors for things. And then there's also Sculpey. I prefer, if I am going to use Sculpey, I prefer the Primo, sounds fancy. I prefer the Primo line, I guess. I just find that the two are very, very similar, the Fimo Soft and the Sculpey Primo. I feel like these two are so easy to blend. They do take a little bit of time to get going, so you do have to kind of work it with your hands a little bit, but because they are very similar, you can mix the colors together. But once you do mix the colors, once you do make your beautiful creation, and that could be anything from jewelry, earrings, beads, miniatures, if you're one of those folks who play board games and need your miniature people, like D&D characters. What else could they be? You can make tiny food, you can make little houses for a fairy garden. There's just so many things. Honestly, Google some stuff with it. There is a world of polymer clay out there waiting for you. But I'm going to show you a little bit of how I use them. We're going to go over some marbling techniques, color blending techniques, and then just, you know, a basic example of making texture with them. I have some tools handy, and you may have some or you may have other ones. They're just little wooden clay tools. You can get these really anywhere. But there is one like this where you can use that side to make a really nice texture or line work in your clay. And then the opposite side of it is more like a smooth end, so you can use that to kind of, I like using the word burnish because you're making it shiny, but you're smoothing out the clay and really making it kind of easier to work with. And then there's multiple other tools. There's like this, which is like, kind of looks like a little butter knife at the top. I use this to cut my clay, or you can use it also to like make markings with it, draw in your clay, of course. Okay, so I am going to show you one of my favorite parts of the polymer clay experience. So it is marbling. Marbling techniques are very interesting. It makes color mixing with polymer clays very fun and also unique to the medium itself. A type of marbling will look something like this, where you have, you know, 2-3 colors blended in together, and it would be a similar technique of us just, you know, working the color together a bunch to mix it and get a new color created, what we've done with this and this piece over here. But instead, you create these really marvelous lines and really beautiful color combinations. Here's a little green one that I have that'll show the difference in that. And I believe with this, I might have actually done like a blue black with green, but it really came out quite nice. So I'm going to show you how to do that and how to bring that effect, how to come out with that effect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, I think, take a majority of this pink color and a little bit of the gold. Well, they're very similar in size here, maybe a little less. And I can always add more, of course, but I'm going to take sort of half the size here, and then I have a little bit larger there. So I'm gonna kind of make them as two flat shapes, and then I'm gonna take my smaller piece and put that right inside the other one, and then just roll it into itself and kind of fold it in. So right now there is no evidence that I've put another color in here. It's hiding. But what you do is you kind of roll it into a ball, work it a little bit, and then bend it and twist it. And then from there, you will really start to see these wild colors coming out. And then this is where, you know, it is really fun to get all these colors, but you don't want to work it again too much, because you don't want to blend all the colors together and then not be able to see your beautiful marbling you've done. So if we do just something like that, and you can see how the two colors together have come, they're kind of like striped and beautiful. I'm going to roll it into a little ball here to just make those colors kind of fuzz all together. There we go. And I think just because it is such a pretty shape there and such pretty pattern, I'm just going to flatten it out like a little disc. There we go. There's some marbling for you. So really easy technique to kind of blend colors. Now I'm gonna do something very interesting, I think, with these. I want to create another piece like this, just like a pendant piece that I could add to a string and make a necklace. And all the clay I have left, aside from this little tan piece here, are these two, and they're very beautifully marbled, and I want to combine them. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to pull this a little bit and tack that in here. Now I am using the Sculpey brand right now. Personally, I actually like using Fimo a little bit better. But that's all my own personal choice, of course. But this one actually blends really, really smooth and really fast. So it's a great beginner clay if you want to start working with it. You don't have to, you know, work your hands to the bone to try and get something out of the piece. But what I'm doing is I just have these two marbled pieces. I am attaching them together, so the top part of it is going to be a lot more pink, and the bottom part of it is going to be more tan with that brown added in. Now, what I'm doing again is I'm just kind of rolling and pulling, putting the same amount of pressure with my fingers as best I can. Of course, I'm not, you know, a machine, so it's not going to be even, of course. But that kind of adds to the homemade and the artistic factor, I think. So you can really see that nice like blended color, even compared the two, a nice blended color to there. And I think, I don't have a shape in mind, but I would really like a shape that both the ends kind of meet together so we can really see what it looks like. You know what? Let's get crazy with this. I think we should. I'm going to use some tin foil. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll like a sort of a tube with that, and then I'm actually going to create this into like a 3D spiral shape. So let's take some aluminum foil out. I'm using quite a lot because I want to get that nice shape in the middle. And I'm trying to get, you know, the middle part to be sort of firm, but then when I roll it around, I don't want it to be spiky like this, just because that'll leave an imprint in my piece I'm doing. So I want to make it really as smooth as I can to roll it. I mean, that's, you know, smooth enough. I could use one of those tools that I have, I guess, and kind of roll it around there, but that's kind of the idea. And the nice thing about aluminum foil, of course, is it can go in your oven. You know, if you've ever made anything on the oven, you would put tin foil under it to save your pans. Well, the same rule applies where you can actually create like a little ball of tin foil like this and use it to kind of help shape your objects in the oven. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take this piece here and wrap it around, like kind of like a coil, and make sure some really pretty colors are coming through. There we go. Now this is going to not be flexible once it's out of the oven. So I really want to make sure it's the exact shape I want it to look now. And I can always do some like sanding or something with the color after it's out. But I want to make it as best I can right now and make sure I'm mostly happy with it. So now that I have this kind of coiled around, I will be able to put this in the oven. And once it is out of the oven, it will stay in this shape, but I don't need to have the tin foil there. So right now, because that piece is too long there, I am just going to chop it. And you don't need anything sharp to chop this. That's just what I had on hand is my knife. But you can use like a butter knife, you can use a ruler, you can really use anything. But there we are. We'll be able to put that in the oven and create something beautiful, maybe make a fashion statement. I don't know how it's gonna look. Okay. And of course, because we are on video right now, we don't want to sit around and wait for me to put this in the oven, take it out, and then show you what it looks like after. So with the magic of television, we can pretend we are putting this in the oven. Oh, there you go. And out it comes. Wow, it even changed color in there too. This is just one I have made in the past. Well, so you can see it goes right through there. Oh, I can stick my finger there. And it's firm. It like stays its shape. I can squish it. It's not gonna go. Again, it has a little bit of a give to it, but it is very, very sturdy. I made this, attached it to a string, so it's like a necklace for myself, but it is just really nice to kind of fiddle around with, kind of like run my hand along the coils of it and see how it goes. And I also did like a marbling technique with this one with like a pink and a blue, and I feel like it turned out looking like candy. So that's lovely. Okay, so I have some green here. It's a very nice, like olivey, khaki green. I don't really know. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to just break it apart, and I don't need that much. I think just this is good. So again, we're going to start working with this here. And we're going to do something very cool to make the texture of this bush, because we want to make it cool. We want to make it look good. So I'm going to use a common household object and be able to create some really cool leafy texture to this. And I'll show you a few different ways. There's a few different ways we can do texture. It's nice. Okay, so I have that funny, like, lumpy green bean shape, and now I will bring it back into a circle, squeeze it in both my hands, And then of course just do again our rolling. Sometimes in my hands too, I will like push a little bit so it's not a straight ball, it's just like a little bit of a lumpier shape. And we want that because I'm going to sort of make it into like a interesting shape. We'll give it a try. So kind of creating like this little bush here. I'm pinching at the bottom because, again, I'm not taking a photo of a bush, I'm just sculpting a mini one. So it doesn't have to be perfect with how a bush would actually look. Honestly, if it's just something that you visualize as what a bush should be, then I think you've done a good job. This would actually be a great little piece for, say, like a fairy garden or something like that. If you have one of those, making these little tiny sculpture pieces would be really perfect. Okay, so we kind of have a little ball of sorts that could be a bush. I feel like I might have a little too many roses for this, but that's okay. So I'm gonna bring us right up here. So the common household item we are going to use is aluminum foil. This, honestly, if you don't have aluminum foil, oh, your pans, they'd be so sad. Aluminum foil is great for polymer clay and making crafts with polymer. I normally will lay it over one of my baking sheets prior to putting them in the oven because I'll put them on like a cookie sheet before. But as I'm making, normally I'll just have a little sheet of tin foil off to the side and I'll put my finished pieces onto it. That way I can just kind of transport it that way. But we don't need that much, we just need a little bit here. And what we're gonna do is crumple this up. To a crazy little stamp of sorts. You can see that I've crumpled it into a little ball. And now we're gonna take our bush and stamp on it and roll it over this tin foil and scratch it all up so it looks like grass or leaves or something. So you can do it just kind of pushing into it and stamping it using different sides. You can also say like use a blade, like a knife blade, and kind of poke at it. I though find that this is like a really nice texture for rocks, and in turn you can also use it for making little bushes. So this is that one side we've been working on, and this is the side what it looked like before. Isn't that wild how just using a simple thing like some crumpled up tin foil can create this texture? So I'm going to continue adding texture. And I normally, this isn't my forte, I normally don't do miniatures. This is kind of one of my first that I've done in a long time. So I am a beginner. So if this is your first time using polymer clay or trying something out, hey, we're doing this together. So this is where it's tricky because we want it to kind of look all around like it is like a little bush, but the more I hold it to try and get this texture on, I flatten some sides. So, no, it's not going to be perfect. If you, though, are a polymer artist and you have say use this technique before, let me know what your secret is, how you don't have to get, how you cannot have it like flat on some sides. That'd be great. Share your secrets. Okay, so we have our little bush here that's been sort of stamped. Now we just take our little roses and put them on. And because, again, they are a little bit sticky, there's not going to be too much that you need to use to get it to attach. I hope you have enjoyed learning with me using different tools. Again, I don't use tools too frequently with my work, but there are plenty of great ones out there. Again, household objects, you can use like a butter knife, a fork, anything. You can use rulers, you can use knives or blades. So many things out there. You can use like pins, like embroidery needles, or regular sewing needles to make like little holes in eyes or something like that if you want to make a face. So many possibilities out there. I really encourage you to like look up or Google or find a book in the library of some other crafts that you can do with polymer clay, because it is such a wide world of possibilities.